Things are heating up in the stock market, but could a headline or a statement from President Trump flip everything? Hello, beautiful people. Shalom, money makers. Let's get straight into it. Please read the disclaimer. So last night, we basically got statements that the ceasefire deal is not working out. It's postponed for now. And President Trump said that he thinks they will have a deal over the next week. Just a week ago, he said it would be coming soon. So right now, the markets are a little bit confused on what is potentially happening. But although the markets are confused and oil is up, it seems right now, pre-market, that things are still looking good, right? We're not seeing stocks pulling back too heavily. Of course, the AI stocks really don't have anything to do, or the AI infrastructure stocks don't have really anything to do with the war in the Middle East. The only thing that could be affecting them is if interest rates stay high for longer, and then maybe institutions would be less likely to invest heavily. But institutions are investing heavily in this sector anyway. So I don't think that a longer 3.5% interest rate is going to deter them from investing into the stock market right now. Other markets are actually pulling back a little bit, and it's interesting. I looked at while I was talking, I was multitasking there. Although I'm very bad at multitasking, you can ask my wife. Right? She'll tell you I'm terrible. I never listen to her while I'm doing something else. But that maybe is a different problem for a different kind of video. How to make your wife happy. Oil is at $90, so it did drop from the high that we saw yesterday at 94 when the headline came out. So maybe this, fact that Trump is saying, "Oh, over the next week or so, we're going to have a deal," has the markets more confident, and that's why we saw oil dropping a little bit. Silver and gold popped up there. You can see after dropping down, when oil popped, silver and gold dropped, stock market dropped a little bit, but we have seen that recover, right? So we saw that kind of drop yesterday. We saw a recovery, and then towards the end of the day, the stock market pulled back, but then ended up coming up a little bit. It kind of was funny yesterday. I made a video, and then people were like, "Why do you always tell us, to what happened? Tell us what's going to happen in the future." And I made a video and I listed 7 stocks that were hot that Nvidia invested in, and that could potentially mean that that's a hot play in the infrastructure. And they did really well. We had Marvel that did well, and actually Marvel just had a headline that has it popping another 16% in pre-market, or pre-market actually is starting in 7 minutes, but overnight trading, you see Marvel is up over 15% in overnight trading after Nvidia CEO called Marvel the next trillion-dollar company. At Computex data center is now 76% of revenue, putting Marvel at the custom silicon and interconnect choke point of the AI build out. So already what's that's up like 20 or 25% since I called that out. CoreWeave seems to continue to pop here up. It was up 14%. NBIS, which we also talked about, 14%. The stocks that are, infrastructure, they continue to invest here. The big companies, Alphabet announced an 80 billion capital raise to build AI infrastructure. The 80 billion raise includes 10 billion from Berkshire Hathaway, 30 billion from public offering, and 40 billion from gradual ATM stock sale program. Warren Buffett's Berkshire recently disclosed a 16.6 billion Alphabet stake and now is doubling down. Alphabet plans to use the proceeds to fund AI infrastructure and compute expansion, while about 30 billion from this is a program that at the money selling the stock there to help cover employee equity related tax obligations. Alphabet recently increased its annual AI and infrastructure spending forecast to 180 billion. So all this money is going to have to go into these companies. Either Google's going to build it out or Alphabet's going to build it out themselves and do everything, which is not possible, or they're going to have to delegate all that money to these infrastructure companies. And that's, we're continuing to see all this money flow into these other companies. And yes, the AI infrastructures had big days yesterday, like Nvidia was up 6%, Micron Micron continues to pop there, up 6.5%. Dell, 10%. Sandex continues. The memory stocks, every single one of these companies directly supplies the hardware that runs AI chips, memory servers, and storage. Demand for data centers is outpacing supply across the board. And so we're continuing to see anything that has anything to do with AI continue to pop. Although the stocks that were more on the power and energy kind of aspect did pull back. So after running, big like Enphase and FCell and SolarEdge that have been running recently over the past few weeks, did get a little bit of a pullback there yesterday. I wonder what's happening with the quantum stocks. Okay. After that big headline from Trump where they popped up significantly over the past 4 or 5 days, they have consolidated. So, sometimes we get a headline from President Trump and then it kind of cools off a little bit. We'll see what happens with the quantum stocks. They can go up very, very fast, but they can also fall very fast. If you remember, for example, RGTI ran so crazy, like it went from, of course, that there was this big run up from $1 to $20, right? But then it ran up from about 7 to 50 and then pull back. So it will be very interesting to see what happens with these quantum stocks over the next coming months going forward. We talked about this. Oh, and Intel also to launch an AI chip to compute with Nvidia and AMD. So if, Intel used to be the big dog, and then Nvidia kind of surpassed them, right? Passed them by on the turn there. AMD started catching up and passed Intel even. Now we're seeing Intel try, of course, since the government invested and the stock went up significantly, we're seeing now Intel come back with strength. So there's so many although it did drop yesterday for 4.67%. It will be very interesting to see how the market plays out today on these headlines. We did see the VIX finish green there yesterday. So that does give me an indication that we could see a little bit of a pullback here. Sometimes it does. This is not exact science. Sometimes when the VIX is a green on a day that the market is green, the next day is red. The market pulls back a little bit. So this will be interesting. We also talked about AMC stock that popped there 22.5%. Its highest point in a very long time. It will be interesting to see, can AMC get any juice? Retail loved AMC back in the day. What could potentially happen? I still own some AMC from back in the day. It's a lot less valued, right? But that's why diversification is so important, because you might have one asset that is down, but other assets are up so much that it weighs it out. People that just go all in on one asset and only focus on one thing, they end up getting burned. I've learned this from my years of experience, that, when you're young, you have like blinders on, and you only see straightforward. You don't see like 180. You don't think about all the other things that are happening, and you only focus on one thing, which can be very good if you're trying to ultra focus on, for example, creating a business or something like that, and you're focused on that. But sometimes it's better to like zoom out, look from above, and see what's happening. And so we'll see. We've seen AMC pop and have these good run ups, like it did back here when it popped all the way there to like 11 or 12, but then it ended up selling off. So could this good news coming out from the CEO, it's already up 200% since the low there. Could this be, 130%, sorry. Could this be an opportunity for AMC stock to kind of break out and maybe get back even to those 5 levels? We'll have to see there with AMC. Again, interesting. Like the whole market is interesting right now. Everything is interesting. Can Palantir continue its run up here after having 3 big green days? Can SoFi stock that we've had dedicated videos talking about SoFi stock, can SoFi finally, cross over here, break through this and cross over on the 1348 EMA? Can it potentially hit the resistance levels here and potentially cross over there? Pre-market just started as I was talking. So you can see all this popped in suddenly. Here's Marvel up almost 19% there. So very interesting. We also have space stocks, Virgin Galactic and all these space stocks that are anticipating the IPO of SpaceX, Elon Musk's company, right? Maybe I'll make a dedicated video talking about SpaceX because there is some technical stuff on how the IPO is going to go and how the Nasdaq has to do all kinds of things that could disrupt the market. I think that's an important video to talk about and to explain. And so I'm thinking about maybe doing that. There's a lot of things that I want to talk about, a lot of stock videos that I want to do. I want to talk to you guys about a lot of stocks and about a lot of things. But you know, I only have so much time in the day, right? This is interesting. I wanted to bring you this because you never know, right? The fact is that one of the biggest short seller firms and short sellers out there, Citron Research, which was responsible for many stocks collapsing and many stocks selling off significantly because they put out articles and they put out things that were saying, you know, bad things about stocks. Their CEO, their founder, is going to jail. So it says here, this guy used X to move share prices and make $20 million. He also tried shorting Palantir and posting on X to get people to short with him. Well, that didn't work. So, you know, especially when you're looking at small cap stocks, today, I don't touch anything that's under $1 billion market cap. And even that, you know, if it's right now with the valuations of companies, I think even under $1 billion is kind of low because we have all these companies that are mega, you know, few trillions. $1 billion has become, you know, with inflation, I think the rule needs to be about 3 billion or 4 billion or even 5 billion. Anything under that, it's very easy to manipulate those stocks, and you can have a situation where someone like Citron comes out and decides to write a hit, you know, a bad article about them, and suddenly all the algos see this article because that's what they do. They scrape the internet, they scrape Twitter, and they try to figure out to buy or to sell. And then it's very easy to manipulate a stock with, you know, a low float to go down. And then if you're holding that stock, it's going to be harder to sell those shares, especially if you have a lot of shares at the price that you want, and then it can be a snowball. So you have to be careful with that, and hopefully, you know, things like that, these shenanigans don't happen in the future, but they'll probably will. Probably will. You know, Orlando, we've talked about Orlando before. I really like his analysis on things and how he reads the tape. He came after Citron there, and they actually blocked him. So listen, and you know, we know what happened eventually with Palantir going on that also big run up. So it will be very interesting to see what happens today in the markets, how the markets are going to react. Right now, it looks like a mixed bag. Some are red, some are green. But a lot of the AI infrastructure stocks are, you know, 2% up, 3% up here. So it will be very interesting to see how today plays out. Let me know in the comment section, what do you think? Are we going to have a good day or bad day? You can write that in the comment section. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more stock updates. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. And like I always say, let's make a lot of money.